to this evening session, seventh day session basically for the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is knowledge of absolute truth. So let us start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Mukam Vidyachara Pangulangayate, Yat Kripatam Mande, Shri Guru Dinataran, Pramanandavadam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So, as we did yesterday, let us first glorify Bhagavad Gita by chanting this shloka from Gita Mahatmya, which is the sixth shloka from Gita Mahatmya. Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vatsasu Dhirbhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat. So it says, this Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna, who is the cowherd, who's famous as a cowherd boy, is milking the cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. So with this, let us begin our session of trying to understand this particular chapter, chapter number 7. But before that, let us do a quick review of what we touched upon chapter number 6. And the acronym was EZ, which is whereas E stands for enemy or friend, where we saw Krishna was talking about mind. He was relating to mind, relating this particular aspect of enemy or friend, mind. He tried to understand, he said that whoever can control the mind will be this best friend. Otherwise, is the worst enemy. Okay, and then he directed Arjuna to work to do all these prescribed duties within Nishkama Karma Yoga by giving all the results of his activities, or the fruits of his activities to the Supreme Lord. And then we also saw how Ashtanga Yoga, what is the main objective of Ashtanga Yoga, where and there were 8 steps in it. The initial 4 steps were known as Yoga Ruruksha, and the next 4 steps, which is a very highly advanced stage, which is the Yoga Rudha stage. Usually in yoga practice and all, we just touch upon the maybe till pranayama, that's it. But above that, am I audible to all? Sorry, I did not ask that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Voice is clear.
I think Shailaja Mataji has some problem. If you want to rejoin Shailaja Mataji, that would be helpful, if that works. But so it's audible to all, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, so the next 4 steps, which is the Yoga Rudha, Dhyana Samadhi, that particular stage, is which is the highest advanced stage. But the objective of Ashtanga Yoga is not good health. Okay. The objective of Ashtanga Yoga, or following Ashtanga Yoga, is to connect back to the super soul, the Paramatma within us, to Vishnu. Okay, that is the objective of Ashtanga Yoga. So he's explained that. We also saw a couple of things in that. And then success and failure and the yogi, right? So, and success and failure is like, maybe she might have to rejoin. You can just tell Prabhuji. Okay, so yogi, where from this particular aspect, where I said that the first 6 chapters deal with Karma Yoga, and the last 6 chapters deal with Jnana Yoga. But the middle 6 chapters, which is like the jam between 2 breads, the essence, the essence of yoga, is Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna is going to touch upon from this chapter onwards, the 7th chapter onwards, till the 12th chapter. He will talk about Bhakti Yoga. Basically, he will talk about how we can relate to Krishna, how we should understand Krishna, how should we what should we know about Krishna. That is what he's going to tell. He starts in 7th chapter like that. So he also calls it yoginam yoginam sarvesham. So who is the best yogi? Who follows, who takes shelter of Krishna. He is the best yogi who follows the path of bhakti yoga. We also saw that the other processes, whether it's karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, is all like steps, like stairs. You're climbing one by one by one. But bhakti yoga is like an escalator. We can, you just stand over there, just practice bhakti yoga, and you will be taken back to Godhead. You also saw those steps, that image which was there yesterday. And one other important statement or a sutra we saw that was, let us do the best and leave to Krishna the rest. So that is the sutra that we heard. Now, so now coming to our today's discussion, or trying to understand 7th chapter. The acronym is HEAD, which is hearing, everywhere, accept or reject, and demigods. Okay. So now there could be a question from all these sessions that we have is why should a common man, people like us, this was actually my question also before I started Krishna consciousness, or started this process of Krishna consciousness, that why we should do this. Life is smooth, life is cool, everything is going well. I'm doing my job and all these things, and everything is going well. Why exactly we should endeavor separately? Why should we put an extra endeavor, extra effort, to try to understand God, to try to take up to the bhakti yoga process, or for that matter, anything? So the answer to that is, there is another acronym which you please remember. It is called as LAG. That's lag. Okay, LAG. L stands for lust. A stands for anger, and G stands for greed. Okay, so lust, anger, and greed. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that these are the 3 gateways to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Okay, if I'll try to give an example so that you can relate to what I'm talking to. So a child wants some chocolate or a gems, right? Some kind of a chocolate the child wants, and it gets it and tastes it. Right? It will taste that particular chocolate. So that is kind of lust. Okay, he gets the taste for that particular thing, particular object. Next, what happens? He will desire more. He wants more. He or she wants more. That I want more chocolates. That is greed. Okay, and if these two things are not satisfied, what happens is frustration or anger. You might have seen children, getting angry on their parents, literally lying on the floor and dancing on the floor, right? So these 3 things happens. This is how lust, greed, and anger, greed, can be explained. Yeah, and obviously anger and greed. What happens when I said first the child tastes, which is lust comes first, then comes the greed that I want more, and then comes anger. So greed and anger are results of lust. So lust is the most biggest enemy. And we also spoke about how some of the qualities Ravana as an asura had. So he had all these particular 3 qualities. Now there are, so with these particular 3 3 gateways to hell: lust, anger, and greed. There are 3 major biggest enemies that come out of it. So from lust, from anger, for example, I start with anger. From anger comes controllership mentality. Okay, there is an example in Bhagavatam about Durvasa Muni. We all might have heard about Durvasa Muni, who was who had a very high temperament. You can't satisfy Durvasa Muni very easily, but once he gets satisfied, he can give you any kind of a boon. He was very powerful also. So everyone used to be worried about his anger. In fact, when Pandavas were in exile, there is an instance of Durvasa Muni was actually sent by Duryodhana to kind of put them in trouble. Yeah. But Duryodhana did not know that Pandavas had Krishna by their side. So Durvasa Muni comes with 60,000 disciples of him to when they were in the forest, right? And they said, okay, Durvasa Muni said, my disciples are, we're going to take bath. After taking bath, we want to take some prasadam. So now what happened was, in the meanwhile, all the Pandavas, they had completed their prasadam. So, and when Draupadi went and saw in the pot, there was nothing in there. And what Draupadi does best is call out to Krishna. Krishna, Govinda, please come and help. Okay, we are in a situation. So Krishna comes over there Draupadi shows, see this, and she has the Akshay Patra. She had the Akshay Patra, and she could give, she can feed n number of people, 60,000 disciples. People are nothing for her, but they had eaten their food. That was the problem. After that, nothing comes out of the Akshay Patra. That was the condition. But Krishna said, okay, show me the Akshay Patra. And there was one particular grain, and Krishna took that and ate that. And what happened was Durvasa Muni and all the disciples felt satisfied. That is how Krishna protected Draupadi and Pandavas. He was always there with him. So anger, okay, greed. With greed comes proprietorship, that is possessiveness. I want this. This is mine. I want more and more. Duryodhana. What did Duryodhana do? He did not give. When Krishna came as a last effort to avoid the war, Krishna came to Duryodhana saying, okay, you don't give their entire kingdom. At least give 5 villages. He said, no. Okay, at least give land that is the size of he said, I will not give anything. Duryodhana said, I will not give anything, not even the size of the head of a pin. That much also I will not give. So what is this? Mine. That is a proprietorship kind of a mentality. Okay. And what happens because of this proprietorship mentality? We tend to keep working more and more, till we foam at our mouth. So that is what is greed. And lust, this is about enjoyership. Enjoying the taste. We get the taste of something we want to enjoy. And when we want to enjoy, we try to enjoy more and more. Okay. So that is the enjoyership. So what happens? Due to anger, controllership mentality comes. Due to greed, proprietorship mentality comes, and lust is related to enjoyership. Okay, to enjoy. Lust is that. Now, which means if I categorize all this into 2 qualities, one is bhoga vritti, and other one is seva vritti. Bhoga vritti means to enjoy. Vritti means nature. Vritti means the mentality or the thought process or the behavior. Vritti, it's basically the nature of a person. So bhoga vritti means enjoying mentality, and seva vritti means to serve. And bhoga vritti, all the asuras, they qualify into that bhoga vritti. But seva vritti, anybody, if you can think of, just type in the chat box. Seva vritti can be related to Hanumanji. Okay, so he was always serving his Lord and all the pure devotees, right? So in between, so this is bhoga vritti and seva vritti. There in between also there is a category. And this category is the demigods, like Indra, for example. He wants to do seva also, but at the same time, he wants to enjoy also. Right? All the demigods or devatas are of that particular category. They want to do seva. They do nice seva. They understand the Lord is there, the Lord is the protector, all these things. They want to enjoy and they want to serve also, but at the same time, they want to enjoy also. They want to leave that particular aspect of enjoyment. Right? So bhoga vritti, seva vritti, and this third part, which is a mixture of bhoga vritti and seva vritti. That is demigod. I can give an example. For example, a cow. Okay, a butcher, when he sees that particular cow, right? It's a little gross, but when a butcher sees that particular, he might see, oh, nice, good flesh, and he might want to cut that particular cow. But when another person, like a farmer, okay, farmer sees a cow, he will want to. Probably we can be on the earlier slide only. He will want to milk the cow. He will want to milk the cow, and yes, that is right. Yes, it is perfect. So milk, farmer might want the milk for what? For selling it off and getting a livelihood. Tomorrow, if the cow stops giving milk, he might not be interested in the cow. But at the same time, a brahmana. So that is seva vritti is there. But a brahmana, the farmer is what? He is in between, right? He wants to serve also and enjoy also. But brahmana, what he will do is he will see the cow as a mother. He will see the cow as a mother. He will see that I have to do go puja. He will see that whatever milk comes from the cow, I will try to make some ghee and use it in my sacrifice and yajna, homa, right? So these are the different vrittis, different thought process that comes up. Right? But a brahmana vritti is definitely more higher, because for him everyone is to ensure that everything is used to serve the Lord. Okay, so these are the way. So now. In a sense, we should also ask ourselves, what mentality we fit in. Yeah. We obviously have both kind of things, and we also have a good person in our hand, like a good dog, or maybe I can say an angel kind of a quality, and also have an animal kind of a quality. So it all depends on what are you feeding. Which side of which part of it are you feeding, the angel part of it, or are you feeding the animal part of it? That's very important. So we have to understand that what are we feeding more? Are we feeding the good dog or are we feeding the bad dog? Okay. So um, so essentially, what I spoke about is lust, anger, greed, then the bhoga vritti, seva vritti, and the in between vrittis. But how a brahmana acts is everything in the service of the Lord. So all this knowledge, you know, yesterday also we spoke about that we have to we have to sharpen our intelligence by how? By listening, by reading Bhagavad Gita, by hearing Katha, by hearing to Shastras, by hearing to Bhagavatam, which has all these kind of pastimes, all these examples in it. Yeah. And because of which we also get many things to learn and try to implement. So Bhagavad Gita, especially this chapter, in each individual chapter gives us a lot of learnings how to come out of this bhoga vritti and get into a nice seva vritti mood. Okay. Now, but again, the question might be that fine, how much? I can't love Krishna. I can probably love I can have that much affection for God or Krishna. And basically, though He has created this world, He is giving me all the food, all those facilities and all. Fine, yeah. But I can't fall in love with Him. I don't feel a connection with Krishna. Okay, that is where Krishna starts talking. That is the base for this particular chapter, where first Krishna says hearing. Okay, Prabhuji, you can go to the next slide now. So hearing is basically where Krishna says, if you hear about me, Krishna tells Arjuna, if you hear about me, see here it is written. Therefore, from chapter 7 to 12, Krishna presents the knowledge of himself. Krishna says, okay, you need to first know me. So gives the knowledge of himself as Supreme Personality of Godhead to do what? To inspire and strengthen bhakti, so that whoever listens to that particular qualities of Krishna and gains that knowledge will get more inspired, and if he is just starting, will get inspired to do more. If he's already started in bhakti, he can strengthen it further. Okay. Now, if you go to the next slide. Yeah, so here it is. Here it says, it's a very famous shloka that Krishna says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagramam Yatha Jnasasi Tat Shrunu. Okay, so Asamshayam Samagram, the third line which is there. So Krishna says, I will tell you about myself. Okay, I will tell you about myself, and based on that, your doubts will be cleared. And Samagra means you will completely give your hearts to me. So he's telling Arjuna that don't worry. If you feel that why I should hear about how I can develop asakti towards Krishna, Maya Sakta Mana Partha. So this is how you can develop asakti. By how? By listening to about my qualities, my pastimes, my glories, by listening to how I am the controller, so that have no doubts about it. And Samagram, by hearing to this, you will develop attraction or affection towards me in your heart. Okay? So that is about hearing. Probably next slide we can go. Okay. Now Krishna says, Jnanam teham sa vijnanam. So what Krishna says is Jnana and Vijnana. Jnana means greatness and Vijnana means sweetness. Now how we should understand this? See, and this particular, all these Jnana and Vijnana, and as I said, this whole 7 to 13 will cover all this, particular aspects of all this. So Jnana means we should understand the greatness of Krishna. And this is all touched upon in chapter 7 to 8. We will see when, we'll see that. 8 chapters also there, that also covers Jnana. But especially of Vijnana, that is the sweetness of the Lord, is covered in chapter 9 and both in 10th and 11th. Now, how do we understand greatness? If you see the first image on the left side, it shows Krishna standing over there with his, the cow-herding stick over there in the Tribhanga form. And from there are a lot of rays emanating. And you see this Vishnu, this is Mahavishnu, this as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu here residing. And from his pores, if you see these small bubbles kind of thing, these are all universes. We will see a little detail about this in the later slides. Now, this is the greatness, this is the Jnana. What about the sweetness? You see here little Krishna here. What is he carrying? He's carrying Nanda Baba's sandals. He's carrying Nanda Baba's footwear or slippers on his head. Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything emanates, here if you see in his pastimes, the sweetness of his pastimes, little Krishna, whether it is little or big, it is Krishna, like Supreme Personality. He's carrying Nanda Baba's, his father's slippers on his head. So this is the sweetness. This is a Vijnana that we are talking about. Jnana also means understanding the difference between the material body and the soul. That is Jnana. Vijnana also means understanding the connection, the difference between super soul and the soul and the super soul. So Jnana also means to understand difference between the material body and the soul, and Vijnana also means understand difference between soul and the super soul. Okay. Now, Krishna is saying everything, you will learn. Yatmamam avashishyate. You can go to the next slide. Okay. So basically, here Krishna is saying how it is rare. This particular knowledge is rare. Now there is a very important point here. It says rarity of realized knowledge. Okay, one can get knowledge. You can read some books and and kind of memorize them and narrate this as how a parrot can narrate. Right? We can do that, but that's not knowledge. The real knowledge is realized knowledge, which means when you get the knowledge, you have to contemplate on that. It's not this state up on the mind. Okay, you get knowledge, it goes in the mind, but it should drill down and come into heart. That's when the contemplating, the churning should happen. And how will you churn? You discuss with somebody, like-minded people, or maybe if you're connected to some other, some devotee, you're connected to a temple. Whenever you go to the temple, or maybe you read more or hear more, okay, some lectures related to that particular shloka. So that way, this knowledge which is there up here can go to the heart. Yeah, so that is realized knowledge. That is what Krishna is trying to say here. Manushyanam sahasreshu. Kashchid yatati siddhaye tatamapi siddhanam kashchid mam veti tattvataha. That is how we can. It is very, sahasreshu, of the thousand beings, one person can understand. Yeah, this particular rarity of realized knowledge. Knowledge is there. There is a lot of our mind is also related to that. Mind is, kind of taking a lot of information from here and there, but take the right path and take the right knowledge. Yeah. So here Krishna is saying it is very rare. However, out of thousands, one might understand me. That is how rare it is. What Krishna is saying is this knowledge is there. It's first of all, it is rare. But when somebody understands this, out of 1,000 people who understand, then only one person may understand and realize that. Here he can realize that tattvataha. Okay. So this is what Krishna is talking about hearing. We can go to the next slide. The second acronym is everywhere, and this is dealt with 7.4 to 12. Okay. Here, just to give a gist of what this particular section deals with, when we talk about everywhere, Krishna is telling that he is the. We will see the shlokas and the explanations. The essence of this particular acronym everywhere, or this section, is Krishna is saying that I am the essence of everything. Krishna is also saying that I am the cause of all causes. So first Krishna said, you have to hear about me. How a person can develop affection or attraction to somebody. I mean, this is a common thing, right? If you are supposed to, in our office also, if you're supposed to have a meeting, and those who are in corporates or for that matter any other industry can relate to this. If you are supposed to have a meeting with a person who is not even introduced to you, right? And you don't even know that person, but that person has a particular position. Okay, so what you would do, the first thing you will do is try to know more about the person, right? Try to hear about the person with somebody who knows that person. Isn't so, right? As simple as that. Similarly, Krishna is telling in this chapter, hear about me, right? Because this knowledge is very rare. And even after hearing 1,000 people might hear, but there is only one soul who can really realize that particular knowledge. So now Krishna is starting to explain how is the essence of everything, how is the cause of all causes. Okay, he says, it can just be on that slide, Prabhuji, the previous one. Thank you, Prabhuji. So he says, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara ityam me vinna prakriti astada. Bhumir apo nalo vayu. Okay, we will see about this. Just remember this Bhumir apo nalo vayu is basically the five pancha mahabhutas. Okay, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kham. These are the pancha mahabhutas. Mano, buddhir and ahankara. These are the three subtle elements. So Bhumir means earth. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are the five pancha mahabhutas, and the three subtle elements are mano, buddhi, and ahankara. That is mind, ego, and intelligence. Okay, so just remember this. We will deal about this in a little while. Okay, we can go to the next slide now. So he says. So here he says para, Krishna spiritual. So here, if you say this particular, no, the previous one. Yeah, see, this is base where you see Krishna and Balram and all the Gopas. This is the spiritual sky. That is the para, spiritual energy. Okay, and where we are, this is particularly the material world where we are, and this is the spiritual sky where Krishna is always grazing the cows along with Balramji, his elder brother, and all the Gopas, and are following up with all the other cows. So this is a spiritual sky, and what we should understand. So that is a spiritual world, and there is a material world. I can try to explain you a little more, in a way that we can understand. Basically, it's like how do I say? Yeah, okay. We can deal it with like this. So spiritual world is like the sun and the sunlight. Okay, the spiritual world is like the sun and the sunlight, and the material world is like a how do you say clouds. Okay, it's like the clouds. Okay, now what happens is, if you see a cloud, right, a cloud can always cover the sun. The sun's rays are also blocked. So material world is like that. Maya, or or the material energy of Krishna, okay, acts in such a way that we get shrouded by the clouds. We are not able to see the spiritual sky. We are not able to get the spiritual knowledge. That is how Maya acts upon us. She tries to. She is the external potency. She tries to ensure that we endeavor more by putting all these all these difficulties. We endeavor more and more. We desire more and more to go towards spirituality. Otherwise, what happens nowadays is we are distracted. A lot of things are there. So coolly we feel that what is there to think about God? What is that? Okay, Krishna is there. A lot of other things are there. Fine, no problem. Let us continue with our work. So that is what is happening. That is what is actually that clouds, when it covers the sunlight, that is exactly what is happening. But if we desire, if we pray nicely, that clouds also can be removed, and we can see the sun and the sunlight. That is the spiritual world. We can see very clearly. But the efforts should be from our side, and that is exactly what you all are there at this particular Friday evening. You are all there in such have spent taking out your valuable time and sitting here and listening to the to the learnings of Bhagavad Gita. That itself is a wonderful step and endeavor towards that particular at least a step towards trying to understand what is good, what is in store for me in this particular in Bhagavad Gita, and what is that good that I can derive out of it. Right. So that's a really appreciable step that you have taken. Similar that, I mean, you will have heard of that this particular play of Asatoma Sadgamaya, that is Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. So we have to move from Asatoma to Sadgamaya. The acronym is ATM, right? We all know the ATM. So it is Asatoma Sadgamaya. From Asatoma to Sat, that is the all auspiciousness. Okay. Tamasoma, that is the Tamaguna, you go to Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. From darkness, you go to light. And the lastly, Mrityoma Amritangamaya. From this material world, which is temporary, and that is always there. There is always an end to this particular world. You go towards Amritam Gana, that is eternity. Okay, so that is what this particular shloka is also trying to tell us. And yeah, Prabhuji, we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is where I was talking about the Bhumi, Vayu, Nalla, that particular shloka which we saw. So here it is nicely explained. Okay. This is an individual. So that individual has a gross body, then he has a subtle body, and then internally he has the soul, the Atma, the driver, right? Now, subtle body is made up of the bliss, basically mind, intelligence, and ego. The soul is nothing but blissful knowledge and eternity. It is always Satchitananda, the soul. And the subtle body is covered by ego, mind, intelligence, and ego. Whereas the gross body, that is this body that we have, is made of earth, water, fire, and ether. What is earth? This particular body. Water is the blood that flows in us. Fire is the Agni that we have. We call it the Jatar Agni, or whatever Agni is there. Fire is the Agni then. Air, that is air what we breathe inside. And ether is space or sound, right? So this is how we are formed. We are formed by these gross elements. That is earth, water, fire, and ether, air and ether. Then inside we have the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and ego. But below that is the soul, the Atma, which is Satchidananda. Okay, we can go forward. Yeah. So now Krishna says, okay, and Krishna says, Prabhav Pralayas Tatha, that is, I am the creator and the destroyer. But how? How to understand that? It is a very beautiful shloka which is here. Krishna is the maintainer and the supreme personality. How we should understand that Krishna is a cause of all causes. He says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. What does this mean? Is Sutre Manigana Iva. We all have seen pearl necklace, right? So everything, so all these pearls, how are they connected as a necklace? There is something which goes from inside, right? So it says Sutre Manigana Iva, like how pearls are bound to each other by a thread. I think it is showed here also. See this, everything which is written here, this like a pearl necklace. So that thread is Krishna. Okay, that thread is Krishna who binds everything together, and that is how we should understand that Krishna is a cause of everything. Krishna is the source of everything. That is how we can understand. It's written. The link is Krishna explains how he maintains this world in the next four. I mean, he will tell about in the next four verses. But Krishna is not only the source and cause and basis of everything. He is also the essence of everything. Yeah, so Krishna is, as I told earlier, Krishna here in this particular chapter is trying to explain more about himself so that we can develop faith. We can develop at least that knowledge, because faith comes from knowledge, right? We can't have blind faith. Nobody, so when I took up to this particular Krishna conscious process, I was very clearly told, do not believe in whatever anybody says. Okay, you have to validate that by Shastra. Okay, especially Krishna consciousness or ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada was very particular. He did not say anything, because even Bhagavad Gita, if you say it is not just Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned as Bhagavad Gita as it is. It is not Bhagavad Gita, it is Bhagavad Gita as it is. Which means what? Prabhupada has not put anything of his thought process in that. He has just given as is what he has heard from all the acharyas. So the glorious acharyas who are like, who were so close to the Paramatma, to Krishna, that they have realized that particular knowledge. And Prabhupada heard from them, read all their commentaries, and then gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is with the purport, so that it is very easier for us to understand. How many of us, at least I did not understand all those slokas we have heard, Bhaja Govindam we have heard, or Vishnu Sahasranam. I mean, it's just a shloka that we narrate. But how many, I mean, I have not taken any effort to try to understand that earlier. But now when I start, I started associating, reading Bhagavad Gita, I at least try to take that step of, okay, when I hear a shloka, try to understand that. So here Krishna is saying, Sutre Manigana Iva. So he's saying clearly that I am the sutra, I am the sutre. How the thread binds the particular all the pearls. In that same way, I am the sutra. I am the basis of everything. I am the essence of everything. Okay, bro. Next slide. Yeah, see this. Matta paratarana anyat mai sarvam vidam prota sutre manigana iva. So here Krishna is in the center, and see this pearl necklace which is all around. So that's how Krishna binds everything. Okay, we spoke about the three doers: Jivas, Super Krishna, and the material nature. So Jiva desires, Krishna sanctions it, and material energy fulfills it. Similar. Okay, next slide. Yeah. Now these particular slides, the next upcoming slides, are to give some more validity, some more validation to what I just spoke. Now, what I spoke, just to give an essence, is Krishna is the essence of everything. Krishna is the cause of all causes. These particular slides that are coming up are from Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, and specific from third canto. The third canto of there are 12 cantos. The third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam has written all these things that we are going to see now in very much details. Right now, it is just the gist, so that at least we can, to a certain extent, get an understanding that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Okay, Prabhuji, next slide. Okay, so there are two creations, two types of creations, Sarga and Visarga. First, Sarga is the primary creation of matter and elements that we are, and the Visarga is a secondary creation by Lord Brahma. We will see those in details. Prabhuji, next slide. So Sarga, here it says Bhagavan Eka Ashedam Agra Atmadana Vibhu, that he is the alone, he is the Eka. Okay, personality of Godhead, the master of all living entities, existed prior to the creation. He is the Adi. This comes in third canto, 5th chapter, 23rd sloka. What Krishna is saying is that I was the first, Eka, first one. Okay, so there is nobody beyond before me. I am the Adi Purusha. Okay, so that's the first thing. Next, yeah. Now, if you see in this particular image, you see this lotus-like structure here. This is Goloka. This is where Krishna resides. From here, he expands as Mahavishnu. And from this Mahavishnu, all the universes and all the, all the other avatars, all the other amshas, will manifest. Okay, so Krishna is the original. He is residing Goloka Vrindavana. From him, being in Goloka Vrindavana, he expands as Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu, all the other universes and all the avatars, we will see that all the avatars are manifested. So what happens? He himself expanded as what? Swa Amsha, that is Purushottama, his own Amshas, and also Vibhinna Amsha, that are we. We are the Vibhinna Amsha. We are the small Amshas as the servants or Jivas or the living entities. But he has Purushottama, he has Varaha, Matsya, all those Narsimha avatars that are there. Those are the Purushottama avatars of Krishna via Mahavishnu. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is Mahavishnu. You see this Krishna's expansion. One of the expansion is Mahavishnu. Lord Sri Krishna expands himself as Mahavishnu for what? For creating innumerable universes. Okay, so he's also saying that Sutre Madagana, we saw that everything. I keep forgetting this particular shloka 10.8. It is written here. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. So aham sarvasya prabhavo, I am the original, I am the master. From me everything emanates. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. From me everything emanates. How Krishna is here, and this is in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is here. From Krishna, Mahavishnu expands, and from Mahavishnu, all the universes and other avatars also manifest. Next slide, Prabhuji. See this. This is, I'm not sure how many of you have heard about this earlier, but this is very intriguing and very, kind of exciting. Yeah. So this is Mahavishnu. You see all these small pores coming out of him. These are all the multiple universes. We are in one of such universe. That is how insignificant we are. There are many such millions of universes are there which come out of the pores of Mahavishnu. And then one of the universe where we are, we have all this, Earth, planet, and all this Bhuloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, all these are there. So it is the analogy, or rather the symbol, it is symbolized as a bag full of mustard seeds. We all have seen mustard seeds, rai we call it, kadu. It is so small, but this number of universes are similar to, for us to imagine, it will be definitely more than that. But for our mind, this fickle mind, to imagine, it is like a bag full of mustard seeds. That many universes are there. And this Mahavishnu, who is the creator, right? Who is the maintainer, right? Creator is Brahma, who is the maintainer. He creates his universe and gives it up to Brahma and all those others to maintain, right? Next slide, please. Now, so it is said. So Mahavishnu, how the entire material. So we saw as of now that how Krishna expands to Mahavishnu, how Mahavishnu creates these universes. Now, after creating the universe, what happens? So Mahavishnu has created the universe. Now, what Mahavishnu done is, by his glands, which is called a Shambhu. If you see, there is a glands going out to Mother Durga. Okay, he impregnates the womb of Durga, Mother Durga, with his glands, which is called a Shambhu. Impregnates. So Shambhu is none other than Shiva. Okay, Shambho Mahadeva. So through his glands, which is Shiva, which is Shambhu, through that he impregnates Mother Durga, the womb of Mother Durga, then to create the material world. So it is written this. Actually, Shiva and Durga are Jiva's parents in this material world. Okay, though our global parents, the topmost parents are Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or Sitaram. They are our eternal parents in spiritual world, right? But how we get created is through Shambhu, Shiva and Durga. But when we come to this earth, we have our local parents also, right? Because we have, we're not considering our global parents as Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan or Sitaram. We don't even consider that. So we get local parents like our mother and father who we have. And, after we pass away, take another body and take another, maybe some other jiva, maybe, a hen's life or a dog's life or a pig's life or a horse life. We get some other different local parents and mother and father. So that is what it is depicted. So we should understand Mahavishnu through his glands, which is called a Shambhu, impregnates the womb of Mother Durga. So Shiva and Durga are the Jiva's actual, are the parents in this material world. And then we take birth, because based on our desires, based on our unfulfilled desires, we get different bodies. Like how now we are in this human body, right? Somebody would have desired something else, so he might have got probably a horse body or an insect body or an ant body, whatever. It's in fact a living entity, right? Every living entity is an atma. So that is what is told. Next slide. Yeah, so Lord Krishna or Vishnu is Shaktiman, Radha or Lakshmi is his Antaranga Shakti, and Durga Devi is Bahiranga Shakti, who is the jail keeper. Basically, this whole material world is the jail only, that we are here, so that we can, we suffer here, but suffer at the same time we have to ensure that we do perform bhakti or serve the Lord and his devotees, so that we can come out of the jail and go back to Goloka Vrindavan, to our actual abode. Next slide, Prabhuji. Yeah. So again, this is also a little technical explanation. This is called a pradhana, where all the Brahmanda like eggs, right? So Krishna also says, "Aham bija pradapita." So when in the form of Mahavishnu, he impregnates the bija in that particular universe. Next slide. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, this also talks about the time factor, and here it is talking about how manifest a universal form manifests in the universal eggs, right? So there are, and these are more technical kind of terms. We just have to understand that yes, this is how the universe is created. Further details, when we, if you're interested in reading Bhagavatam, we can get more details in that. Next slide, please. And this is a very nice tabular form of description of how the actual, what we spoke about now, right? How Mahavishnu, then material nature, Mahat Tattva, and then how we are formed, through the three different modes, how and three different modes we are, our nature, our pravrutti or vritti is created because of this goodness, passion, and ignorance. Yeah, there is a more detailed chapter on this, on the goodness, passion, and ignorance also. Yeah, we can go next, Prabhuji. This is more technical stuff. So again, what we see here in this particular image is how after taking birth here, rather than taking up to the service of the Lord, we engage our senses in all those unwanted things. That is what it is depicted here. How we forget Krishna. Our job is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. But using all these aspects, this no, that same slide. Next slide, Prabhuji. Both are related. So here, if you see how everything works, so goodness may mind and sense and devatas, and passion may all this five senses and five organs are the intellect. Okay, and ignorance, there are ignorance, five subtle elements and five gross elements are there. So Mahat Tattva, then false ego, and then these three modes of nature work. Next slide, Prabhuji. Yeah, this also we spoke about how the Lord enters, how in the form of Mahavishnu, okay, in all the universe. Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, next. So here, if you see, in each of, as I said, right, in each of the universe, Mahavishnu enters as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. See, all these are universe, different universe in the egg form, where Mahavishnu enters as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. How do we understand who is Garbho? See, there are three Vishnus, right? There is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then Karanodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu, if we have to understand. So first is Karanodaksha Vishnu, then the Garbhodaksha Vishnu who manifests in each universes. And how we identify Garbhodaksha Vishnu is from his navel there will be a lotus flower coming up. And who sits on the lotus flower? Lord Brahma was born on that. So that is how we understand Garbhodaksha Vishnu. The next will come in the next slide. Yeah, this is little more explanatory. See, from Krishna, Mahavishnu, who is the source of all universes, then a Garbhodaksha Vishnu comes who resides in each universe. So universes are created, then each universe, again, Garbhodaksha Vishnu resides. And in those universes where Jivas are there, living entities are there, the Kshirodaksha Vishnu as a super soul, as a Paramatma resides. So Krishna expands into three particular Vishnus, right? That is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Karanodaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. This is what we have to understand. You can just remember these things. This particular shloka, I mean, this is in a different font. This particular shloka actually tells that is a reference, is a proof that this is how this is Vishnustu Trini Rupena. That you come in three forms. You know, then it explains. I mean, I'm not able to read that properly, but actually it explains that how Krishna expands into three different forms of Vishnu. Right? Okay. Next slide, Prabhuji. Yeah, this also next slide. Yeah, this is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. See this Garbhodaksha Vishnu from the navel. How we understand? From the navel, the lotus flower comes where Brahma is sitting, or he is born on the lotus flower. Okay, Prabhuji, next. Yeah, this is the Vishwarupa form. Okay, next slide, Prabhuji. Yeah, so here Prabhupada is saying in one of his lectures, saying in the spiritual world there is no creation and no destruction, whereas in the material world there is a creation and destruction. Basically, material world, spiritual world is the exact opposite of material world. In material world there is creation and destruction, but in the spiritual world there is no creation and no destruction in the spiritual world. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this also we spoke about. We can go next. Yeah, Krishna says, he enters into each and every planet. We all know the planetary system, right? One particular scientists, they were, first of all, they don't understand. We might talk about gravitation and all, but how the planets and all stays together, nobody will understand. And actually, in fact, it happened. It seems Pluto they had tagged, but Pluto moved from his position wherever it was. What we have learned in the school, right? It moved from his position once. And then, but he did not clash with it. Took another orbit and did not clash though. So how that happened, nobody knows. But that is where our faith should be, that Shastras tell that Krishna is managing all this through his different avatars. Whether it is Purusha Amshas, basically, whether it is Vibhinna Amsha or the Purusha avatars. Right? That much faith we should have, that much understanding we should have, that yes, this is how Bhagavad Gita, this is how Bhagavatam tells us how we should understand. Okay, next slide. Yeah. So here Krishna says that I am. We should yad vibhu sattvam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. So whenever we drink water, whether it is satisfying our thirst, it satisfies our thirst because there is some taste in that, right? And that is how we drink that. And we don't drink any muddy water, right, to satisfy our thirst. We drink water, whether it is mineral, distillery, or whatever we drink, is satisfy our thirst. But how did that satisfaction come? Who put that in that? That is Krishna who has entered into that. Krishna is giving that, that particular thirst, that taste, that yes, it will satisfy your thirst, right? So Krishna is saying that everything beautiful you do, there is an art, but there is always an artist behind any art. So we have to appreciate that artist also. So the whole nature is made by a wonderful artist that is none other than Krishna. Okay, obviously through his other admin departments, but this is out. So the next slide. So we would have, so this is basically one of the Bhagavatam pastimes. If you see here, this is Krishna sitting in the middle. All those gopas are there. I'm looking at the right slide, And these are all Vishnus who are standing behind him. Yeah, and we see always from Krishna all other Vishnus are there. We don't see from Vishnu all Krishnas coming up manifesting. So this is a Brahma Vimohana Lina, which is explained very nicely as a pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam in 10th canto. So Krishna is there, and behind him all these Vishnus are there, innumerable. So as many as millions of universes are there, that many Vishnus are there, in each universe. Okay, Prabhuji, next. Yeah, I think this is all slides we have already seen this. Yeah, so probably, yeah, go to this slide. Yeah, this is, you can keep on, yeah. See, this is Bhuloka, that is Earth. Yeah, so it says 14 planetary systems are there in this. Which are the 14 planetary systems? From Bhuloka, from top. So there is planetary system which goes above the Bhuloka. Those are all the, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka, and then the Brahmaloka. Okay. And below, there are Atala, Sutala, Mahatala, Talatala, and Rasatala, and Patala. Those are the lower planetary systems. Okay. So we might say that tomorrow, Swargaloka is there, where all the Indra and demigods are there. They are enjoying over there because it's more of sense gratification over there. They do have bhakti also, but they keep that enjoying mood also over there. So one can elevate themselves from this particular loka one by one. We can go up as we pass on, and also can go down also. But the ultimate goal is to go to Goloka. And here, this is also we saw. So this is Kshirodakshay Vishnu, who's sitting in the milk ocean. Brahmaji or all other demigods or whoever it is. If you see there is Lord Shiva here, there is Lord, Brahmaji is also coming and paying obeisance to Kshirodakshay Vishnu, saying whenever they have a problem, they sing the Purusha Shukta shlokas and beg for Mahavishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu to help them, relieve them of their troubles. They prayed when Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha was, disturbing and destroying all other planets over there. Yeah, so they went and begged, and then Lord said, no, don't worry. I will take avatar. I will send my expansion over there. Okay. So Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the one who manifests as different avatars. Okay. We have to just understand that. Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, see this? Kshirodakshay Vishnu expands as super soul, Paramatma in the heart of every living being. Okay, Prabhuji, next one. And second, so this is Sarga, and second one is Visarga, that is a secondary creation by Lord Brahma. If you see this, it will come in the next slide. Okay, so Krishna manifests all these they're all the expansions of Amshas of Krishna, whether it is Hanuman, Ganesha, Durga, Saraswati, Brahma, Shiva, all, Kartikeya, everything. And here, if you see on the left side, it is nicely explained. Krishna on the top, then all the Vishnus, then the Avatara, the 4 Kumaras, then this is the Varaha avatar or the Kurma avatar is there, Matsya avatar is there, all the avatars, the Dashavataras. And then coming down, if you see Parshuram is there, here, you see, I think Lord Jesus is also there, some other way. Because he's also he said, I'm the son, right, of the Father. So then Mahaprabhu is there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, who is also Krishna, none other than Krishna. And then we also have this, this particular Avatara on the horse, the white horse, that is the Kalki Avatara, which is yet to come. And there is a mention about this Avatara also already in the Bhagavatam. Okay, next Prabhu. Okay, so this is actually a verse from Brahma Samhita. I just quickly read out that. So it says, Venum Kvanam Tamaravinda Dalaya Taksham Barahavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarbakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this is a translation for this particular shloka in Brahma Samhita, where these are Brahma's prayers to glorify Lord Krishna. Okay, this is, you are the ultimate Venum. Venum is this flute. You're playing this flute so nicely and with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. Okay, Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Next Prabhu. Yeah, this also we can skip, we can go ahead. Yeah, this is how the knowledge comes in the form of in the Parampara system. So we follow Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So that is how we follow come in the Parampara. That is how the knowledge passes on. Next slide, Prabhuji. Here, as I said, Rasoham Apsakam Te, Krishna is actually in this particular shloka, Krishna is explaining how I am the essence of, the rasa, the essence of water, essence in the juice. He's saying, Prabhasmi Shashi Surya, I am the sunlight, the light in the Shashi Surya Ho, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. We can see all this in the next slides, Prabhuji. Here, basically, in this particular shloka, Krishna is trying to explain that I am the essence of all. Bija Mama Sarva Bhutanam. Okay. Next slide, Prabhuji. It will get more clearer when we go. See, I am the taste of water. Next. See, I am the fire, sunlight. I am the light and the fire in the sun. I am the moon. I am the light of the moon. Moon is basically, it helps give juices in the food. Whatever food, right? The moonlight gives juices. He is the pranava, that is the omkara. Next, Prabhuji. Next. Yeah, pranava sarva vedi. Omkara. I am the omkara. Next, Prabhuji. Yeah, and the sound here which I spoke about, right? And the sound. Okay. Next, I am the I am the strength in everyone. Okay. Next, otherwise people sing, then I am the bodybuilder and I am the most efficient person. But the strength comes from whom? That is from Krishna. Okay, bro. Next, yeah, this drop of water. As I said, the smell, the fragrance when the first drop of water falls on the earth. Where does the fragrance come? How does the fragrance comes from? That is because of Krishna, because I am the Gandha. Okay. And next page. It talks about the creation. You can go next. Is tapasa. I am the tapas of the tapasvi. I am the fruit of the tapasvi. Tapas, the austerity that somebody does. Next page. Basically, I'm just, these are one-liners of all that particular shloka that we saw, how Krishna is saying, where am I? What is my position? Right? He here says, I'm the bija giving, I'm the seed giving father, original seed of all existence. Whatever entities are there, whatever 84 lakh species are there, the seed comes from Krishna. Next one. Yeah, Buddhi. Here, this person who was sitting in was it Newton or sitting below the tree, and then an apple falls on. Oh my God! He understood that there is gravity, but it was already there. You just did a research or you just found that. But where did that intelligence come from? That comes from Krishna. That gratitude should be there. Next problem. Yeah, the strength, Tejas. Next. Saintly kings use the strength only to protect people, not to show personal aggression. That is how balavatam chaham. Yeah. Next one. Family. I am. So here Krishna says kamosmi bhartarashaba, which means a marriage which is performed to ensure that we follow spiritual practices and religious practices and not to enjoy each other. So Krishna says, I am not that. I am actually because of me. When this. The lust that comes out of it is basically to redirect ourselves so that we can create a progeny who is very favorable towards spiritual life. Next. So many points Krishna mentions in this particular shloka, that how we can understand that every amsha, every moment Krishna's involvement is there in our life. That is what he is trying to say. Okay. Next point. You can say accepting or rejecting. So who accepts? So Arjuna is actually asking, so this slide we saw like last time, right? There is a very beautiful shloka here. Daiviyeshi gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameve prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So here Krishna says that, my maya, my servant, whose material energy, maya is troublesome, right? But she is my servant. She is my servant, and because of her only, you can come back to me. That's what Krishna is saying here. Next slide. Yeah. Now Arjuna also asks that, yes, fine, I understand all those things, but who are those who accept and reject you? He's trying to ask that. So Krishna says there are 4 types of dushkritinas and 4 types of sukritinas. Dushkritinas means those souls who have perverted intelligence. They are intelligent, but they use their intelligence for wrong kind of things, right? But at the same time, there are 4 good type of people also. 4 type of sukritinas. What are those 4 types of sukritinas? Chaturvida bhajante mam. There are 4 types of people who who serve me, who do all things, who help me, right? So Jana Sukritano Arjuna, Artho Jidnyasur Artharthi, Jnani cha Bharatarashabha. So Artho, Jidnyasur, Artharthi, and Jnani. There are 4 type of people who are favorable, who are Sukritinas. So this is an answer to Arjuna's question, that what kind of people accept you, what kind of people reject you. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this is what they showed. Distressed, we can go quickly, bro. Who want wealth, Artha Jidnyasu. And Jidnyasu, who's kind of inquisitive. This is inquisitiveness in the next slide. So what is the whatever inquisitiveness you have, you kind of channelize that in the right direction. By just reading a novel or some kind of a book, we get some knowledge. But what is the use of such knowledge? There is no benefit out of. There is no progress in our consciousness. That is very important. Whenever we read Shastra, agreed that we have to, for our material aspects and all, we might have to, read all these books and all. But at the same time, we should understand that, whether it is elevating my consciousness in the right direction. That is very important. If that particular knowledge again binds us further into this material world, and that is of no use. For our material responsibilities, we might have to do that. There is no question in that. We can do that. But at the same time, we should also nurture the need of the soul, the need of the Atma. For the need of the Atma is basically to ensure that we progress on the spiritual path, we take up to bhakti, we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, serve the Lord, serve the devotees. That is very important. Right? It's not just any kind of book we open and read and oh yeah, I got some knowledge. Okay, fine. No, what is the use of it? Right? Is it kind of elevating your consciousness? Next slide, Prabhu. Yeah, see here it's talking about Jnani, Tesha Jnani Nityayukta, Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. Priyo hi Jnani no Tyatam, Aham Chabhata Mama Priyaha. Although Krishna said that the Jnanis are dear to him and he loves all those 4 type of Sukritina devotees, because after all what they do is they approach Krishna. They might have some desires, but they are also approaching to Krishna, right? So that is the reason he likes those people who are Sukritinas. Next problem. Yeah, so here is again little bit more given explanation of those particular jnanis only. Who's supposed to, who are the Sukritinas? He's trying to explain that more and how they surrender into Lord Krishna. Next. Yeah, and this is a very, very important shloka. It says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabaha. Again, see, this is a very sad state that we have, right? So many people are, they might hear about Lord, whatever, but they just, give a blind eye or a blind deaf ear to all those things, right? But that's what Krishna is saying. Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many, many birth times, after many, many lifetimes, right? Jnanavam Mam Prapadyante. You get some knowledge. What is the knowledge that person gets? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. That Krishna is a Vasudeva is a supremacy. But such a person, and he calls him Mahatma. But what is the saddest part is, saddest part is that Sir Mahatma Sudurlabha, which means such a person who understands that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, but such a person is very rare. Sudurlabha. Right? That is what Krishna is. It's a rarity of a pure devotee. But what happens if such a person is there? This is what our efforts are. If such a person is there, like how Srila Prabhupada was there, such a pure devotee, he wanted to just give. He wanted to give everything, Krishna, to everyone, right? Because he knew that is the essence. And that is why he wrote commentary in Bhagavad Gita, he wrote commentary in Bhagavatam, and he wrote many, many books. And what is there in his books? He is not glorifying him. He is only glorifying Krishna. And he is requesting and begging that people please take up to Krishna consciousness. He went to do all this. He went to Pakistan, he went to Russia, he went to all other states where Tamaguna and Rajaguna was at the peak, right? But he didn't bother. What he did was give. He just gave Krishna to everyone. And see what has happened. So many people have taken up to this process, right? And that is the beauty of it. Krishna takes care of everyone, but you have to take a step towards that. That is very important. Krishna wants that. Yeah? And that is how Maya Devi with her Trishul, there are three parts on the Trishul, right? These are Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Adi Devi. These are the 3 kleshas. With that 3 kleshas, she will always try to pinch us that yes, okay, I will give you suffering, but in that suffering, what you have to do is take shelter of the Lord. Right? That is what Maya Devi also is a servant, a very sincere servant of Krishna, because what she wants to do is she will give only those sincere souls towards Krishna. Otherwise, we don't want to waste time of Krishna, right? Where we just want to be, like time passing kind of a time pass kind of a devotee, or just for the heck of it, we might do just to show bottle kind of a devotees, right? Nobody, that is temporary. Unless and until we read, we hear, we contemplate, we practice and share. These are the 5 things we have to do. If we really feel that this is a knowledge, this is the most important knowledge, guhyam guhyatamam knowledge, then what we have to do is we have to hear, we have to read, we have to contemplate, we have to practice, and we have to share. That is very important. These are the 5 things we have to do. Prabhupada was very much, very much, he was, in all these 5 aspects, right? In all these 5 aspects, Prabhupada has ensured that, whoever wants to practice Krishna consciousness, he has given all these 5 methods, nice steps to perform this particular, these 5 things. He has made it very easy for those people, those devotees who want to really practice Krishna consciousness, who understand that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. I have to surrender. I am his servant. I am his child. And as a child, serves his father, I want to do that. Right? So for that, Prabhupada has burnt the midnight oil, if we say that in English, how we say that, and ensure that he has given all that as a package to everyone. Many, we can speak about that at a later point, but yes, he has done so much things for all of us, for all the living entities. Yeah. Next slide, Prabhuji. The last one is head, the D, right? That is the demigods. So we can go ahead. Yeah. So who worships demigod? Kama is tastir vitadnyanaha. Who wants some kind of a benediction, some kind of a material, kind of wants to derive some material benefits out of it. Yeah, such kind of person will always, because you see, demigods are, right, all the devatas, right, apart from below Krishna, they all are, they all also want, see, demigods are also servants of Krishna, right? They know, they also, they feel that, yes, if I give to this person what he wants, at least that person will turn back and be grateful to me, and then I can offer him to the Lord. And I hope you are understanding. What I'm saying is, whoever goes to demigods, and if you ask anybody standing in front of the bank, right, they will say, I'm standing here to, kind of, maybe to withdraw money. If you ask somebody who's standing in a line in front of a shopping mall, they said, I'm coming to buy things, right? But you ask any person standing in a queue outside a temple, everyone will have different, you may call it, desires or orders. So God is actually becomes a supplier, order supplier, right? So that is what is the sad part of it. Outside a mandir, outside a temple, whoever are standing in a queue, they will have their own desire. Oh, please make me healthy, please make me wealthy, and all those things. But nobody will say that, yes, my Lord, you are my father, I am your child. I want to serve you. Forget all the other things. I don't care whether you give me distress or happiness or whatever, but I just want to keep serving you. And how Hanumanji was, whatever the situation be, whatever the state be, he just wants to serve the Lord. For that, he even did not even bother about his life, and he jumped towards and went to Lanka, and he burnt over there and came back, burned the Lanka and came back, right? That is the mood that one should have, the seva bhav. Right? Prabhupada actually, gave in his whole entire teachings, he gave us, so when we gave us 4 things that we should prohibit. The short form is GIMI, GIMI. That is no gambling, no intoxication, then no illicit sex, right? GI, no the gambling, no gambling, no illicit sex. No intoxication,
No meat eating.
no meat eating. Thank you, Prabhuji. So these are the 4 things that Prabhupada has ensured that, if we prohibit this, if we avoid all these things, what will happen is, because of avoiding all these 4 things, we will have cleanliness in the heart, physically and externally and inside also. No meat eating means that is we will have mercy. We will ensure that, we don't kill anyone. That is being showing mercy to the other person, right? No illicit sex. Again, that is about cleanliness, shauchaha, external cleanliness, right? Not involved in anything other dirty things. abominable things. And no intoxication, gambling is also that, truthfulness. We will not have the cheating propensity. So he gives so wonderfully that if any person who wants to follow Krishna consciousness and he abides by these four things, right? He will definitely rise above the raja and tamaguna and be placed very nicely in the sattva guna, which is very important for us, for any one of us to practice bhakti yoga. We have to rise from above, from tamo and raja to bhakti sattva guna. That's very important. Okay, so in this particular aspect, Arjuna is actually asking, what about that? What about the people who are worshipping demigod? So Krishna is saying, see, results of demigod worship are perishable. Perishable means it is not permanent, it is temporary. Antavattu phalatesham. Tad bhavati alpam. Alpa medasam. It is temporary, it is alpa. Okay. Deva deva yajo yanti, mad bhakta yanti mamapi. Okay, at least they are worshipping. But what are they worshipping? Okay, for example, tomorrow we go to Shiva temple. What we should pray to Shiva? That my Lord Shiva, that at least give me a pinch of devotional service, at least a pinch of sincerity that you have towards your worship of Lord. Lord Shiva meditates on Lord Ram. Shiva meditates on Lord Ram, right? So that is what we can go and pray rather than all these material things. Let's pray to Lord Shiva that, my Lord, give me a pinch of that devotional, that bhakti that you have to your worshipable Lord, that is Lord Shri Ram. Okay? That is a prayer rather than asking all those material benefits. That is the essence of this particular, this particular section. We can go to the next slide from here. Yeah, so this is avyaktam vyaktim appannam manyante ma abuddhaya. Rest all. At least those people who are worshipping the demigod are at least, even though they're less intelligent, but they at least are doing something good. But the other ones who are not even that doing that are literally unintelligent people who are kind of atheists, who don't even, atheists or the impersonalists who don't believe in the form of the Lord, right? They're all unintelligent people. Yeah? There's no use. Okay. Next one. Yeah, here. Then there is another category who want to always chastise Krishna. This is Shishupala, where Krishna, just so that he avoids further offenses to him. Krishna delivered him. He cut his head, but then he actually got Sarupya Mukti. Shishupala got Sarupya Mukti. Next slide. Yeah, the Lord is not covered by Maya, but our vision is. It's like that I told you about the sun and the sunlight, right? And we are like, the material world is like the clouds. The clouds can cover the sun and the sunlight, which means our vision is covered. But that doesn't mean that the Lord is covered. The Lord is never covered. The Lord is always there. It's just that that covering of less intelligence or illusion is there, which we have to remove, and which can be removed only by taking up to Guru Shastra and Guru Sadhu and Shastra. By following Guru Sadhu and Shastra, that's the only way we can remove that covering of Maya and see that bright sunlight. So Krishna knows past, present, and future. Vedaham samaditani vartamani cha Arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kashchana. Okay. So Krishna says, I know everything, past, present, and future. Next slide, Prabhuji. Yeah, why no one knows Krishna? And many people have heard about Krishna, but there are a lot of misunderstanding also about Krishna, right? And that is primarily because of these three gates. This is what we started off, right? If you remember, LAG, lag. This is where we started. Because of this, because of lust, greed, and anger, are generated, and that is the delusion. Ichcha desha samuttena dvanda mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sargayanti parantapa. That is the link. That is a major problem. Because of these three things, right? Everything is destroyed. Next one. Yeah. And what happens because of bhakti? Yesham tra antagapam papam jnanam punya karmanam. We can do bhakti, and because of that, purification of heart, is the result. Next one. Yeah. This is a pure bhakta who knows, who tries to use his intelligence to understand more of God. Yeah. And in that full consciousness, he will leave the body. That's a yogi. Okay. This we spoke about, what the Sukritinas, Artho Jidnyasur Artharthi, and Mokshakami, Jnani, and Kevala Bhakta. This details we spoke about who who wants to reach out to the Lord, who are little eager at least to approach God. These are the four types: artho, jidnasa, maybe for wealth, jidnasa out of curiosity, artharthi, some kind of a problem he has, and at least he wants to understand through whatever jnani and all those things. So at least they're taking some steps towards the Lord. The Lord will be very happy to these people also, and he will ensure that all other facilities are provided to that particular person to progress. But even after that, if he or she doesn't take, the Lord can't really help. Okay, bro. Yeah. So just to summarize, hearing, Krishna said, okay, first hear about me, and everywhere, everywhere he is the essence of all essence. He is the essence of everything. He is the cause of all causes. And who accepts and rejects the dushkritinas and sukritinas, okay, and demigods. At least there are some people who approach demigods maybe in a very materialistic perspective or materialistic desire, but at least they are approaching. They are far, even though they're less intelligent, but they are far better than those unintelligent who don't even consider the form of Lord, who don't even accept that there is Lord, who are like, they say, even in air there is Lord, and they don't agree to a form of Lord. But at least, even if demigods are there, at least if some worship is there, at least there's a good one step at least ahead to, to getting towards Bhakti Yoga. At least they are conducive to take up to Bhakti Yoga, is what Krishna is trying to say. So head is the acronym for hearing, everywhere, accept or reject, and demigod worship. This is what I had. This is the last slide. So thank you so much for your patience hearing. I hope I could make some sense, and maybe we could understand. But yes, see, I might have gone some fast. There are so many slides, so many points to be understood and learned. But and you have to, every day you are going through one chapter. Yeah. But there is another opportunity if you all are interested. After we complete all the 18 chapters, as actually me and my other devotees are doing that. There were earlier batches. We are going in depth. Like how we just took one chapter, we take each shloka by shloka and understand this particular essence. So that is something which we do in our once this whole batch is complete. Whoever are interested, they can join us for shloka by shloka understanding. So right now, like for example, we are doing second shloka that way. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. I have already unmuted the devotees. Devotees can directly ask you their doubt if they have.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I have one doubt.
Yes.
I mean, it's actually a little confusion. In previous chapter, when Krishna was talking to Arjuna, he said that my parampara, the discipline hierarchy is first is Krishna, and then comes Sun God, and then comes Manu, who is the father of mankind, and then comes the Ikwakshu, that Ikshvaku parampara.
Ishvaku.
But now today we understood that Jiva is the father, I mean, the parents of our parents of living entity. So I just got a little confused.
So basically, I understood basically what you're trying to say is how, when I said Mahavishnu through his glance, which is Shambhu, right? See, this whole chapter, this 7th chapter is about how is the creation done.
Okay.
The essence of this chapter is for us to understand that yes, Krishna is the creator, okay, through some other various means. See, basically it's like this. If there is a prime minister, right, if there is a prime minister, he will have his departments also, administrative departments, who will do all the work for him. Similarly, just to create the jivas, create the material world, okay, Mahavishnu will glance through Shambhu, that is Lord Shiva, impregnate Mother Nature, that is Mother Durga, and then jivas are born. Okay. Now, from a parampara perspective, so sorry, power went off. Okay. From a parampara perspective, what you're saying is how that parampara flows. That is basically the disciplic succession. Okay. That is what I think you are trying to understand. How, whether when we are created to Shambhu or Shiva or Mother Nature, and how the parampara works or how the parampara is coming. Is that what this question was?
Yes, Prabhuji, that was
So parampara is basically how the knowledge flows down.
Okay.
That is how the knowledge is kind of, how do I say, it is percolated from top to bottom.
Okay.
That is how we should understand. That is creation. That is the whole creation, and there is this knowledge that is coming through.
Okay.
That comes through parampara. Jiva creation mein there is no knowledge that is passed on. Basically, the creation or the body is generated because of the desire of the soul, desire of that particular living entity. But when you say disciplic succession, when Krishna, then Ishmaku, then Arjuna, because Krishna told Arjuna, right? And I had already told this knowledge earlier. Okay, so that we have to understand in forms of how the knowledge, how the understanding of all these, basically what we are trying to understand, how everything works. So how this knowledge of working of the creation flows from Krishna to all other paramparas, Ishmaku, then Arjuna. And from Arjuna, we all are coming to, we are through Bhagavad Gita, we are able to understand how creation happens. So the flow of knowledge is like that. Through parampara. That's what we should understand. And it is a very important point, Mataji. When you're asking that question, it is very important to know that there might be other people who give knowledge, saying, yeah, this is my knowledge, right? This is how I understand. Okay, that is wrong. You have to give a knowledge which comes from parampara, which is coming from Krishna. That is how you understand. Tomorrow somebody comes and says, see this book I've written, this is how how Big Bang Theory and all those things we have heard, right? How this has happened. This is what I feel this has happened. Why we have to understand that way? Bhagavatam, as I showed you some slides, right, where it is very clear. It is very clear that Mahavishnu creates the universes. It gets impregnated as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He stays over there. Okay. Through Garbhodaksha Vishnu, in each universe, the other Brahma comes up in his navel through the lotus. And what is Brahma doing? He's creating, right? Simple to understand. What is the question of Big Bang Theory and all those things? And this is how I understand. So, for your question, knowledge flowing is through that parampara. In that knowledge, creation is one aspect. We understand that, but we have to understand through parampara, not like a Big Bang Theory or a chance kind of a theory. No.
Okay.
That is what we understand.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Understood.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful question, Mataji, but very nice question.
Prabhuji, when I start chanting or when I concentrate on my mind starts wandering. Does it happen to me or it happens to anybody who's beginning?
Everyone, Mataji, everyone. Abhyasena and detachment. These are the only two things. Arjuna also had a problem, Mataji. Arjuna also told Krishna that my mind is like, I can control the raging wind, but my mind is a problem. So only by abhyasana. Just last time also we spoke about that, right? How we should do that. Brahma Muhurta is the right time to chant, because that is the time there is less of distractions, less traffic early morning, right? So try to chant in the early morning. Yes, distraction will be there. I also have. When I chant, all those distractions always come. But what we should do? We should, like how the mother brings the child back, right? Like that, we should bring back the mind, and that will only happen by knowledge, Mataji. Through knowledge that yes, I am chanting the holy name of the Lord, so I have to keep my focus on. I have to focus on that, because that is knowledge, and because of that knowledge, the intelligence works, is get toned up, and that intelligence should drive the mind's desire that no, don't go towards that side. You are supposed to chant the holy name, chant properly. So that intelligence, with the use of the intelligence, the mind can be brought back. It is difficult to practice, but by difficult, easy to say, but yes, you have to.
Finding it very difficult.
Yes, very true.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Practice will help. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions? Hare Krishna.
So in the next chapter, that is tomorrow, Krishna actually the topic is attaining the supreme. I'm not sure about the acronym of that, but the topic is how to attain the supreme. So there will be a lot of maybe practical aspects in that particular chapter also. So now we understood who is Krishna, How is Krishna important? Now you see how to attain Krishna. Yeah, so that's a very nice chapter that are coming up. Hare Krishna. So please keep chanting as far as possible in Brahma Muhurta time, and also share this knowledge, whether it is form of what you heard today or what notes you have made. Please share that knowledge, even if it is in a book form. Even if you feel that you all have a Bhagavad Gita with you, you have it. See if you feel that this is the right knowledge to have. Try to ensure that whoever you pass on that Bhagavad Gita, gift it whatever way is possible. Please do that, because this particular month is a very special month, and there is a special date, that is 25th, which was the advent of Bhagavad Gita. That is the day when Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. It's Mokshada Ekadashi. So it is very auspicious that we also share this knowledge, whether in word form or in the book form. So you can definitely.
This is the acronym of chapter.
This is the next. This is the acronym for the next chapter that is coming up. Dead, basically doubts, end of life, attaining the supreme, and devotion. So there will be more practical things.
A very nice chapter.
Very nice chapter. Yeah, very nice chapter. So thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
So if there is no question, we'll end the class here.
We'll end the session.
Devotees should take the should ask the question, and they can ask their doubts because the Prabhuji. So anyway,
or you can WhatsApp or whichever ways.
Yes, Prabhuji.
There is one question here. I could not understand about the prism. So it's basically, again, this is because I think I said Mother Durga is the jail keeper, right? So which means there should be a jail. Now let's understand in this way. What is the jail supposed to do? Who is kept in the jail? Who are doing wrong things? They are kept in the jail. But why they are kept in the jail? To reform. To reform themselves so that they don't do the same things again, same wrong things again. So jail is supposed to be for a person who has done something wrong and kept in the jail so that he reforms. Similarly, this material world, when it is explained as a jail and Mother Durga is the jail keeper, we as jivas, this whole material world is called as Dukhalema Shashvatam. So so what is our wrong thing that we have done? We want to enjoy separately from Krishna. That is how we have come from Goloka to this particular material world. What Krishna has done is created this material world in the form of a jail. What happens here? Is there anyone in this particular Zoom session who's blissful and happy, has no problems? Everything is peaceful. No, it can't happen. This material world is Dukhalema Shashvatam. So we have to understand that fact. So that is the acronym for being in a jail. And who's the jail keeper? Like a warden, right? Durga Mata. She has a Trishul. As I said, 3 things are there in the Trishul. With that, she will always ensure that yes, some or the other trouble is there, but for us, and based on her capacity only, she will give for us, so that we take up to Bhakti Yoga. We ensure that whatever distress comes, whatever problem comes, we will take shelter of the Lord. That yes, Lord, I want to take full shelter of you, and so that I want to take your shelter and ensure that I come back to you. That is what is the meaning of being in a jail and meaning of a jail keeper. There was this question which is how may I know how many rounds to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in a day? There is no limit. There is no limit to how many you can chant. As much as possible, as per your capacity, keep chanting. In any position, any state, no problem at all. You can start. Usually, one round of japa is, if you see I know how many of you have tulsi beads with you. There are 108 beads in that whole japa, the japa beads, right? So one mantra, one round is 108 times. 108 is a very auspicious number. And it takes maybe around 7 or 8 minutes, depending on how you chant, or maximum 10 minutes if you're very slow. But 108 times, one round is very, very nice to do. That's like one round of japa. 108 times you can do. Good to do on a beads, that is a japa mala, rather than using some other means. So you can chant as many. At least if you're starting, at least do one round, and yeah, that will be helpful.
Yeah, Guruji, what is the significance of chanting it within the bag?
Yeah. So it's like, so for example, And it's a very good question, Prabhuji. If you have I'll ask you one question. If you have a very expensive necklace, where do you keep it? On the table, on your dining table, or where do you keep it? Where you prefer to keep it? Sorry?
Hidden.
Hidden means in a cupboard, in a safe place, right? You take care of that, right? So that it is very important, because it is very important for you. It has some importance to that. Similar to that, a japa bead, right? A japa mala is basically it's like when you charge your mobile, you put a wire, right, to connect. That is your connection to the Lord. So every bead when you chant, that is a connection. It is that important, right? So what you do, you don't like to keep it, hanging. So if it is 108, you don't like to keep it hanging like this somewhere, right? It is touching here and there. You have eaten something on the dining table. There itself you are chanting. That is not good, right? That is not respect to particular thing, which is such a pure thing. So that is the reason we put the beads into a bead bag, so that anytime it is safe. It is, even if the bead bag is touching something, the beads are not touching. Yeah. And one other important thing is when we take diksha, after a certain time, we get initiated beads. Those beads are very sacred, because that is something our spiritual master has given to us. That is a direct connection to the Lord. That is the reason we have to cherish. We have to give importance to everything that we do in Bhakti Yoga. Beads are definitely one of those. So a very nice question. That is the reason. I hope I have explained and tried to understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, once again.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
We'll end the session here.
Yes, thank you so much.
By Vaishnava Pranam.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantokoti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you so much.